everyone, welcome to this episode of Newsclick's Daily Roundup. I am Aditi.
And I am Prashant, and here are the major stories for the day.
Landlord savagery in Sonbhadra on Munda tribe cultivators. 3 cattle traders lynched by a mob in Saran district of Bihar. Contractual teachers observe Black Day in Bihar. US House of Representatives has passed Raise the Wage Act. Teachers protest in Swaaziland seeking a solution to the crisis in the education sector. On Wednesday, that is 17th of July, a squad of about 200 men armed with stout sticks, spears and rifles arrived at Ubha village, some 60 kilometers from Robertsganj district headquarters of Sonbhadra district in Uttar Pradesh. They were led by one Yogyadat Gujar, village headman. They were travelling on a 32 tractor trolley. Reaching the village, they surrounded about 100 bighas of land and started ploughing it with their tractors. Villagers, mostly belonging to Munda tribe, got together and protested, and the altercation quickly escalated. Within 20 minutes, the place was strewn with bodies of the dead and wounded. Later, villagers told media persons that they had called every senior police officer, but nobody picked up. They dialed 100, the police control room number 2, after which a couple of policemen did show up, but remained on the sidelines. The injured and dead were rushed to the local community health centre at Goraval, which is the block headquarters some 25 kilometers away. Unable to deal with the sudden rush, personnel shifted the injured to Robertsganj. 7 people had died on the spot, 2 died on the way, and 1 died in the hospital. Besides these, some 29 more were injured, some of them quite seriously. While media reports have used phrases like gunfight over land, clash, bloodshed due to land dispute, and other such neutral terms to describe what happened. However, even a quick passing of the events and the background will disabuse any person of these silly descriptors. It was a savage, well-planned attack by an armed force in order to forcibly rob poor, marginal cultivators of their only possession, their land. It is no coincidence that the cultivators were from the Munda tribe, who are considered lowly and face constant humiliation and exploitation. In yet another case of mob lynching in Bihar, 3 people were beaten to death in a village in Saran district in the early hours on Friday. The trio and 1 more person were attacked by the mob in Pithori Nandlal village under Baniapur police station in Saran, where they were on their way in a pickup van to purchase cattle. While Naushad Qureshi, Raju Nat and Videshi Nat were beaten to death, the 4th victim, whose name has not been disclosed by the police, sustained serious injuries and is battling for his life in the government hospital. According to a local activist who wished to remain anonymous, some workers of the right-wing Hindutva groups had been spreading rumours about the presence of cattle thieves for the last 2 days. He said as a result, when the victims were passing through the village in a vehicle, some of the villagers raised an alarm, suspecting them to be cattle thieves. Immediately, dozens of villagers gathered at the place, caught them and started beating them up. They were beaten with bamboo sticks, iron rods and bricks till they lost consciousness, and 3 of them died. The Bimal Jalan Committee, constituted to The Bimal Jalan Committee, constituted to assess the optimum size of capital reserves that the Reserve Bank of India should hold, on Wednesday finalized its report, sources said. The 6-member panel under the former RBI governor was appointed on December 26, 2018 to review the economic capital framework. For the RBI, after the Finance Ministry wanted the central bank to follow global best practices and transfer more surplus to the government. As per various estimates, the RBI has over Rs 9 lakh crore of surplus capital with it. According to these sources, Wednesday's was the last meeting as of now, and the report has been finalized. Senior journalist Paranjoy Guha Thakurta analyzes the implications of this report.
Bits and pieces of the report of the Bimal Jalan Committee on transfer of reserves from the country's central bank and apex monetary authority, that is the Reserve Bank of India, to the government of India, to the Consolidated Fund of India, has been leaked out in the media. The leaks suggest that whereas the Finance Secretary, Subhash Garg, who's a member of the committee, wanted that committee to give a one-off amount of money to the government, other members are in favor of a staggered approach. That means the surpluses get transferred over a 3 to 5 year period. The amount of money involved is huge. It's not a small amount of money. If you look at the total amount, it's almost 10 lakh crores. And when you compare that to the country's gross domestic product, which is 190 lakh crores, that's like nearly 5%. Now, this is a huge amount of money. Now, there is a view that given the state of the world economy, the government should not be raiding the treasury in this manner. But there is another point of view which says, no, the Reserve Bank of India's reserves are higher than what it should be. And at least 2 governors in the recent past, governors of the Reserve Bank of India, Dr. Urjit Patel and Dr. Raghuram Rajan, were reportedly not in favor of transferring more of the Reserve Bank's money to the government of India, which in any case has been going up very steadily, and from roughly 68,000 crores in 2018-19, this amount is scheduled to go or expected to go up to 90,000 crore in the current financial year. That's not all. There is a proposal in the finance bill to amend the act governing the Securities and Exchange Board of India to ensure that about a quarter of its general fund is kept as reserves and therefore would go to the Government of India and the Consolidated Fund of India. And the chairman of SEBI, Ajay Tyagi, has reportedly written a strong letter of protest to the Ministry of Finance. The whole idea to create a reserve fund from the general fund managed by SEBI is seen by many as one more attempt to erode the autonomy of an institution. So, as has been the case in the recent past, both these moves to get more money from the Reserve Bank of India as well as the Securities and Exchange Board of India do not forebode well for the independence and autonomy of these 2 important institutions.
The main criticism of the NIA Act when it was first passed in 2008 following the 26/11 attack was the strong push towards centralization. This criticism was dismissed on the grounds that in the event of an attack similar to 26/11, procedural red tape would only get in the way of a speedy investigation. However, the recent amendments to the Act have faced massive backlash. Listen to civil rights activist Gautam Navlakha on the issue.
Until now, National Investigative Agency had jurisdiction over scheduled acts. Now with this amendment that has been introduced, they will be able to investigate even crimes where prohibited arms and ammunition are involved. The second major change is, of course, that NIA will be able to investigate crimes that take place outside the country. The third important change is that NIA will have same powers as police officers across the country, which hitherto they had not enjoyed. And lastly, now the central government will have powers to designate existing sessions court as special courts to hear NIA cases. These are briefly the major changes that this new NIA, the amendments to NIA envisages.
A day after facing brutal police action, thousands of contractual school teachers staged a protest in Bihar on Friday, observing a black day and burning effigies of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Bihar Rajya Prarambhik Shikshak Sangh leader Pradeep Kumar Pappu told Newsclick that teachers in all 38 district headquarters had joined the protests. On Thursday, over 50 teachers were injured in police action while they were on their way to Gherao, the Bihar Assembly. They were demanding salary at par with permanent teachers working in various government schools in the state. Police used water cannons, tear gas and lathi charge on them. According to the protesting teachers, they were on a peaceful march to the assembly in the scorching heat and humidity. However, the police barred them from moving ahead. As a result, a group of teachers tried to break the barricade and the police responded with brutal force to disperse them. That is all we have in our national segment today. Over to Prashant for our national section.
We begin with the United States, where the House of Representatives passed the Raise the Wage Act, which will gradually raise the federal minimum wage from the current level of US $7.25 per hour to US $15 per hour. The current federal minimum wage has been unchanged since 2009. With a vote of 231 to 199, the House passed the legislation that would immediately raise it to US dollars 8.4 per hour and will gradually take it to US dollars 15 per hour by 2025. The legislation is a culmination of years of worker struggles to hike wages, especially by fast food workers who also happen to be among the lowest paid class of workers in the US. The fight for 15, as the movement for wage hike is commonly known, has been ongoing since November 2012, when fast food workers from major corporate chains came out on a national strike. According to the estimates of the Congressional Budget Office, the legislation could help millions come out of poverty. The bill still needs to go through the Republican-controlled Senate and the President. While senior Republicans in the Senate are known for the history of opposing a federal wage hike, President Donald Trump has threatened to veto the bill if it acquires Senate approval. On Thursday, the United States warned Iran over its seizure of a Panama-flagged ship called the Nie in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran seized the ship claiming that it is involved in smuggling 1 million liters of oil from the country and said such acts of piracy could not continue after it claimed involvement in the smuggling of US oil. The US wants Iran to release the ship immediately. The US Central Command Chief Kenneth McKenzie indirectly claimed that Iran was a threat to the free movement of ships in the region. In recent times, the US has been mobilizing opinion in favor of a global intervention in the region under the pretext of protecting oil flow. Meanwhile, the US has also claimed that it had shot down one Iranian drone after it came threateningly near the US warship USS Boxer in the Persian Gulf on Thursday. Iran, however, has denied losing any drone on a specified date. The seizure of the Nie follows the seizure of another Iranian oil tanker, Grace 1, by the UK near the Gibraltar early this month. That incident caused great diplomatic tension between the UK and Iran, with the latter threatening severe consequences. In our last international story, we go to Swaaziland, where the country's National Teachers Association, SNAT, staged a demonstration yesterday demanding that the government address the crisis in the education sector. This crisis has been caused by a severe shortage of teachers. This is due to the government's decision to freeze new hiring, casualization of primary and secondary school teachers, and the failure to pay the education funds to schools. Since the beginning of this year, no new teachers have been hired to fill up vacancies. The teachers' union noted that with just 2 months to go for the exams, hundreds of students have not even seen a teacher from the beginning of the year. The freezing of funds has affected all aspects of school activity. In one school in the country, students pick up paper, cut grass and sweep the schoolyard in the absence of staff. Many schools have shut down due to the shortage of funds, and many others have stopped serving meals to children. Swaziland is going through a crisis of epic proportions, with key sectors such as education and health massively affected due to the lack of dispersal of funds. In the meantime, the last absolute monarch of Africa, who rules this country, has been spending millions on his palaces, his fleet of cars, 2 private jets, and other indulgences of the royal family. That's all for international news.
That is all that we have for you today. To know about these and many more important stories, visit our website www.newsclick.in, follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching.